Give me just a second. I'm trying to get my earpiece in, and I got to send Cameron a link here so we can get with him on this live here. So give me just a second to get that all set up, and then we'll be ready to roll here. So there he is. All right. So the link is sent to him now. So he should be joining me here any minute. So, all right. So we got Weatherman Cam that is live in Kerrville. He's actually in Kerrville right now. If you joined me last night at 10 o'clock, I kind of talked about this a little bit. And they sent Cameron and they sent Braille, one of our reporters, down to Kerrville to kind of take a look at the damage and to kind of, just see how recovery efforts are going. And from what Cameron has shared with me today, it is, it's awful. Just heartbreaking what I've seen from what he's shared with me. And, I'll be honest about it. If he had, and he just joined us here, if they had asked me to go, I probably couldn't have done it. Probably just too heartbreaking. So, all right, so I'm going to go to Weatherman Cam here. Let me make it where we can see him. And there is Cameron. Cameron, man, that's some pretty brutal stuff there. Tell everybody where you're at right now.
All right, so we are just about 5 miles west of Kerrville. I don't know why I keep forgetting the town name. Let me pull
Ingram.
up here. Ingram, yes. Sorry, I don't know why I blank on the Ingram, Texas right now. So we're about 5 miles west of Kerrville. The reason we came here is because you can see the traffic way out in the distance there. That's where the cutoff is to where we can get access to. That's where they have state enforced or state troopers out there only allowing strictly residents in. You have to have proof of residency. Media is not allowed beyond that point, and they hauled in some debris beyond that point out of there. So we're at the edge of the river right now. There's a Guadalupe right there. And we're about 10-ish miles downstream from the Camp Mystic, which is, where the saddest story has come out of this. Obviously, it's all sad. That's, one of the most, tragic stories we've heard out of this situation. But there's a Guadalupe. You can see a lot of damage there right along it here. Then, of course, you can right in the middle there, too. You can see the trees all knocked over. And I mean, the cool thing is, I don't say the cool thing, but the thing that, you can't see on TV, that's not going to show on TV is just how high the river came, because here's the road, obviously, right? And there's water. But there's baseball fields over there, Ken. The fencing, I'll walk over there. The fencing is all washed away. There's nowhere to be found. The fencing is all washed away. So it gives you an idea on how high up this river truly came. Last we saw was 34 feet. And I think right now it's saying, what, 12 feet, right around 12 or 9 feet. So that's
Yeah.
what, three, 4 times higher than what it is right now. You can see this is where the fencing was. You'll see some holes in the ground here where it completely just uprooted all the fencing and carried it all away to who knows where. And there's your holes right there from the fencing of the baseball field.
Wow.
There's more holes. There's the scoreboard over here. Just walk over here in a
Incredible.
second. But there's your scoreboard right there from the baseball field itself. And then obviously the field right there. And then that's the river out there. So it gives you an idea on how far and how high that river rose, and carried all the got debris all the way up here. So it's a mess out here, man. It really is sad.
That is very sad, Cameron. So all that area right there was underwater. So we showed a graphic at 5 tonight that talked about how quickly, or at 6, how quickly that water came up. So how fast? So how deep was the water probably where you're walking right now?
Um, like in terms of like at the time of it happening, you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't know how high it can, because we have to factor in is if you look over, you have piles of debris all along this road, okay?
Hmm.
Piles of debris all along the road. So that was debris that was within this area, I believe. You have a lot of debris smashing against the fence line along the highway over there. So what happened probably was the water was at least high enough here to carry debris through, move things, and even potentially carry debris across and knock things out of the way as well. So how high that is, I don't know. I really do not know.
Well, I wanted to ask you also what what have you been? What are some of the scenes, some of the sights that you've seen since you've been there? Which I got there late last night. What is this? What are some of the things you've seen today?
Um, when I first got here, it was pretty sad. It was really sad to see it because, it's one thing to hear about on TV. You see the pictures and stuff from like, national news and all that and social media. It's like, oh, that's sad. But then you really see it and it's like, wow, it really is sad. So here's a good example. Just like random things that have been washed up. But if you look in there, that's from a playground. Who knows where it came from?
Hmm.
I don't know, but that gives you the idea of just random miscellaneous things that have been washed up. Let's see if I can see it. I don't see it over here. But that's kind of been the thing. We've been finding a lot of just random common household items washing up along the, along the banks, along the roads. This road way down there is completely washed out. Like the where the pavement was is completely washed out. I can't find it, but there was a spot where you could see clothing hanging in the trees. If you look out there, that's where some tree damage is. But you can just see how they're all stacked on top of each other from them rushing into each other. And then you have trees in the middle there that are debarked, just to give you an idea on the height of the river at this time. And that's from a collision. That's you're talking houses, vehicles, other large trees smashing those trees there and smacking the bark off of it.
So you're not where you're not even in the heart of where the worst of it was. The damage was, which was over near Camp Mystic. So what are they telling you as far as trying to get access to that area?
We tried earlier. We're trying to hopefully get to Camp Mystic. However, that's the issue is they were not allowing any media through. And my guess is actually here, check it out. It's kind of cool. You can see a lot of this has been the scene all day long. You can see actually, the sun's blocking. But you can see constant trailers coming through with supplies, fire engines coming through nonstop from who knows where. It's kind of anywhere and everywhere. You got pallets of water for first responders in place. But they were not letting us in. They're not letting media in. I believe it's because it's pretty much it is a still a very much an active search and rescue ongoing. We've had Black Hawk helicopters flying around all day long. We saw boats going up and down the river all day long, just scouring the banks, looking for whatever they can find.
So you guys, what are your guys' plans as far as the rest of the time you're there? You'll be there at least through tomorrow. So what is your plans for tomorrow?
So we're gonna do we kind of sent out some messages in the meantime during the newscast and all that, and we're going to what Wichita Falls, some of Wichita Falls Fire Department or volunteer fire department still down here. So we're gonna get with them tomorrow,
Mm.
and then we're gonna try to get in contact with that Elijah the comfort dog and see if we can see the dog itself while it's down here because it was still down here as of yesterday. So don't know if it's still here today or not, but if it's still here, we can hopefully see it tomorrow. But check this out, Ken.
What
Look how
is
big that
that?
tree is. That's a tree. That's a
Okay,
root.
that's the root.
Oh, that's tree roots right there.
What about the soil there? Is it a rocky soil or is it is there anything there as far as it can absorb the water there or anything?
I mean, it's like I'll say grainy, but it's a rocky. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it's kind of grainy a little bit.
Yeah, have you heard any of the residents say anything about it? What the recovery efforts or anything about how any have you heard any good stories from any of them?
We haven't heard, we haven't heard a lot in terms of the number of stories because we've been kind of spending a bit more time. Actually, just a little bit got some looks like some clothing or a bag right within that tree there,
Mm.
but haven't really heard much from this residents. We've been kind of talking to more of the professionals like first responders and stuff like that. But we did speak with, gosh, I gotta jump across. A local, and she said the big thing she was talking about was just like how fast it happened because she said from the time the river crested or like from the time it peaked, they only had about 45 minutes. That's what I've been telling people is that when a river goes from a foot to 34 feet and under over an hour, just over an hour, what do you do realistically?
That's a wall of water. You can't. There's nothing you can do.
There's,
There's
there's
just no way.
there is nothing. So I asked her, I was like, actually one of the questions I asked her, I said, is there something that could have been done differently to help get the word out? And she's like, what she say? She said, that they need to have an alarm system in place to better alert people, but I don't really know how you fix that because you don't really know what's happening until it's happening. I mean, this is such an extreme event that I don't know how you prepare for 34 feet of water to come at you.
Well, I think you don't, but at the same time, a question that I would ask is why are there cabins built along a river? I can see a lake because lake they can control a lake with a dam, but a river is meant to flood. Why in the world would they have cabins and have that kind of stuff along a river?
Right, and that's a good question. Is why are you putting those cabins in a spot that's especially in a flood zone where it can easily get washed out?
Yeah, that area I think is known as Flood Alley, is what I've understood. I mean,
Yeah,
it's prone for flooding. It's just what is that right there?
looks like just a couch or a chair cushion. Like that's what you find along the riverbanks right now. We're not even near the riverbank per se. The riverbank's over there, but we're away from it, and you're just finding random common household items that are mixing. Like for example, I think it's this pile over here. I wonder if I can find it. Um, yeah, like for example, here you have some clothing mixed in there with just debris.
Mm.
Just it's you see stuff like that. It's really it's very sad to see And that's just, common household items that you see every day, and you think nothing of it, but then we see it, wash up in debris. And when we talked to the first responders earlier who are doing some of the search and rescue, they said they have to go through all these piles here and they search through these looking for any type of survivors or any type of, potentially deceased people.
I guess it'd have to use like cadaver dogs for that, right?
Yeah, so actually, earlier when we first got here, all morning we saw they were doing search and rescue right along the bank over there, and they had cadaver dogs going along the bank as well.
And did it seem to alert on anything or anything like that?
No, I didn't. No, not that I'm aware of.
Wow, look at all those trees. Those just piles, and that's just from the flood. That's not from. Is that? It looks like some of them have been cut though. I guess they cut them away from the
Yeah, it
road.
looks like some have been cut up, probably from clearing out the road and all that. But you can see, look, this used to be a road. It's been completely washed out.
It's washed out for sure, and you can. I can. It looks like there's some traffic there in the background, maybe.
Yeah, that's where the checkpoint is. That's where to get through there, because we got to meet a constable and we talked to him for a little bit. And we said, how do you get through there? Like, how are they running that right now? And they said you need proof of address, and they are checking to make sure that you do live in there because they're not letting anyone back there who does not live back there.
Well, I can certainly understand that. How far down from where you're at, if you look down the river, if you point your camera down the river, how far down would that Camp Mystic be from your that point right there?
Roughly about 10 miles.
And it's in the direction to your right there.
Yeah, so the way you're looking, the river is flowing at us right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the river flowing at us, and that it's probably about just 10 miles down that way towards the river, down the river.
Oh wow, and that's where you're in Ingram, so you're not in Kerrville itself. Is there any
Right, we're to
damage
the
in?
west.
Is there any damage in the Kerrville area?
What we're gonna do is even we're also gonna really scour through thickly through the Kerrville area, just double check because we've seen damage pictures in Kerrville and there's apparently memorials and stuff like that. But we just drove along the highway earlier, which goes along the Guadalupe, but we didn't see anything. So we're basically gonna double check our tracks tonight and see if we can find stuff for tomorrow, so we can get some content for tomorrow.
Have you seen any type of memorials or anything?
No, but we like so that's what I was just saying. We believe there's some in Kerrville, so that's what we're gonna check out, see if we can find some out there in Kerrville.
And it looks like the river is still flowing pretty up, pretty high because that river usually is really low in this area.
Right, and you can't see it here. We can't see. We don't have access to. We saw earlier when we had got to go with one of the officers or the constable. But there's I think it's back that way downstream a little bit where we saw water flowing, and it was still pretty high. Like it was barely getting underneath the bridge, so it was still fairly high at the time. However, I do think it's starting to come down now because this morning I checked. And they had heavy rain off to the southwest this morning, put down about 2 to 4 inches in some spots with per hour. So heavy rain off to the southwest, and you get that runoff into this, and check it out. You got it, still keeping yourself high over here.
Are they? How is the weather there right now? I saw it rained again today.
It rained earlier this morning off to our southwest, and then just about 2 hours ago, we had some hit and miss showers, and now we're kind of turning to a mix of sun and clouds, and it's just been kind of humid all day, very tropical today.
Okay, and I'm not answering questions right now. I'm sorry. We're doing the interview. Just chat with me again at 9 o'clock tonight. I can't. Again, I'm not. That's not what this is for. It's just 100% focused on what Cameron's doing. So. Well, Cameron, that is incredible. That video you're showing, that's a live video right now. That is incredible. And just to think that on July the 4th, that was just a wall of water just coming down that. It's got to be surreal to stand in that area.
I mean, you got to think about it. Like I said, this is reading what we looked at, 9 feet just below flood stage, and we're talking 34 feet when this came across and did
Gosh,
this.
that is
I mean, you can
incredible.
see. I don't know if you can see right there, right there, a little piece of insulation just from who knows roof. Just that's what you see. You just find it can. This looks very comparable to hurricane damage.
I was about to say this reminds me of Hurricane Katrina somewhat.
Very much comparable to hurricane damage because it's just crap scattered everywhere. You don't know whose is whose, and it's just all over the place.
Before I let you go, do they believe that there's anybody in that, that might be, I'm talking about this point in time, we probably don't have, I mean, unless by the grace of God, it probably aren't any survivors left, I would think.
Well, that's what I asked the PIO, and I said, at what point, I said, you call off the search, but I said, how does that work? And he said, the main search is gonna keep going on for a little bit, but like how long it goes on for, we don't know. That's kind of not really his like jurisdiction. It's a matter of I don't know who makes that call or not.
Mhm.
But they don't know how long they're gonna keep the main search going. But I mean, realistically, you're probably not gonna some of the people are missing, or I would not be surprised, might be missing for an extended period of time until this river completely goes down.
Yeah. So I would think that probably mostly what's going on is body recovery at this point in time. And I probably have to use, like you say, the cadaver dogs. And it's gut wrenching, and Cameron, I don't think I could have gone down there. I just don't. It just takes a special. How do you feel personally just being there?
Um, I say I've kind of adapted to it or gotten used to it, but early on when I first got here, like I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew the tragedy that was involved with this,
Hmm.
and how I first did it. I kind of had like that one of those humanizing moments where it's like, yes, don't be wrong, I love the weather and I get excited about the weather, but then you see and you hear what happens, and it's like, okay, you gotta have respect for the weather. So, for the first little bit of time here, it was very um, humbling, probably the best way to put it. When it comes to weather, it was very humbling, and it's very sad to see, understand, because this is a terrible way to look at it. But you look at all the damage. It's like, yes, it's damage, but you also look at the fact that this river here you know, has taken the life of 100 plus people, and still 100 over 100 missing at this time. So
Mm.
I'll say that's the way I look at it, but it's like there's this is tragedy. It's what it is, and it's just think about that situation. There's kids involved. There's it doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter their age, but the idea is you have kids involved. There's families that are heartbroken all because of this, and it's just terrible. And
Mm.
it all happens so fast that there's not much you can do. You can't prepare for what happened.
Yeah, no, you can't. Well, Cameron, I'm going to let you go. I know you're about to get busy and whatnot, but I'll check back in with you later on this evening and see what is that there?
Looks like baseball cards.
And might pick it up, might be worth something. Who knows?
I'm saying that's just just the idea of how sad this is. You just find
Oh, that's hockey cards. Yeah, I can agree. I mean, that just again, it just makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me want to I just don't know that I could do it.
it's like as much as good as I don't say good, but as telling as it would be for the sake of the story, going to Camp Mystic, I don't know if I could stomach it. I feel like I would get sick.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I
Because
mean,
I don't know if you've seen pictures, but there's pictures from excuse me, from inside the cabin where it's just like the cabin after the water came through, and it's just bags of clothes and everything's exploded, and
mm-mm.
what happened. It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. All right, Cameron, well, y'all be safe down there, man. Good luck to you, and I'll check in with you probably either later tonight or tomorrow to see how things are going. All right.
Yep, sounds good, Ken. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so that was Weatherman Cam. He and Braille are down there in Kerrville tonight. They've been down there since last night, and they're just kind of, getting a firsthand look at everything as you saw there, and trying to get up with and do whatever stories and whatnot they can, because I mean everything's being restricted. They really can't get into the heart of where everything is, which is fine. I understand. But gosh, that's it really very seldom am I at a loss for words, and I'm at a loss for words. I mean, I was the same way when Hurricane Katrina hit back New Orleans, Mississippi, Alabama, that area back in what was it 2005, and then kind of the same, loss for words seeing that. I mean, I've seen lots of natural disaster areas. So I've seen, you're not an idiot, Kate. I mean, it's just tonight I was just doing the old again, interviewing Cameron type thing. I'll answer your questions tomorrow, tonight at 9 o'clock. So you're not an idiot. Don't worry about that. But I've seen a lot of natural disasters. I've seen plenty of tornado disaster areas. I've seen, flood. I've always said one of the worst natural disasters I ever saw was the drought we had here back in 2011, 12, 13 timeframe. But I would say that this flood is up there at the way it happened. Just came up on the worst possible day it could come up on, July the 4th, like that. Just awful. So prayers and thoughts and all that kind of good stuff go out to them still down there where they're recovering. And I don't know who you would donate to at this point in time. I'm sure like maybe the Red Cross, Salvation Army. Those are probably a couple that would be good. There might be others out there, but you gotta be careful when you're donating stuff, because there's a lot of scammers out there too. And unfortunately, the scammers take advantage of a situation like this. So, know the organization and make sure that it's legit before you make any donations and whatnot. I know there's locally probably, and no matter what city you're in, there's probably locally some churches and whatnot that's gathering goods to send to that area. So, horrible stuff. Well, thanks for joining me here on this special little edition, and I'll have my normal primetime weather coming up tonight at 9 o'clock here, and it'll be the question and answer, the fun stuff, and we'll probably, we may dabble a little bit in the floods, but we're not going to get too much into that. Probably, I wouldn't think at 9.